salad, so I've got some mustard. The next one is mental health. This one's a little harder because everyone reacts very differently in an emergency. When I was activated for our first emergency, I was like a chicken with my head cut off. I didn't know what I was doing. I felt like I needed to be everywhere at the same time, and it was such a stressful situation. I knew I needed to help, but I didn't know how to help. But as I've gone through these, we were talking just after one the other day of the missing girl, how much we've learned over all of the activations. And this time I realized how much I've learned in the fact that you do what you can and you let the rest go. If you need a break, it's okay. You can't save the whole world. So that's something that I have learned about my mental health. My mom and dad attended an emergency seminar in California, and he said the greatest thing I've ever heard. And it is, you don't rise to the occasion, you default to your training. And that is so true. As we have worked in these situations, I could pick out for you the people that have been trained, because they just have a little bit of an edge that the other people don't have. They're more calm. They understand the purpose of our CERT teams and what we're trying to accomplish. Those are the people that we put in charge of other people because we know that they understand the bigger picture. In a long-term emergency, normal behavior goes out the window. So someone that you would consider calm and rash may not be. And you just have to kind of understand that everyone is dealing with the stress of it in a different way. Stock up on your comfort items, because after a few days, you are going to want those comfort items. Whether it's my kids, it's hot chocolate. That solves the world for my children, hot chocolate. When you're stuck in a long-term emergency, you've got to get out of your house. So you need to come up with a plan of which your family could go safely somewhere to get out of the house, and then coming home, you'll be glad to come back home instead of being somewhere, a jail cell that you're stuck and you can't leave. So just think about that as you prepare. People need something to do in an emergency. Everyone needs to feel useful. So as you are preparing your CERT teams, think in mind, what can I give people jobs to do? There's always jobs. Even if you have to ask someone to go pick up the trash from the command center or whatever it may be, people need something to do. And so there's always going to be the loose cannon, and you're going to need to give them a really special job so that they can feel productive and yet aren't doing more damage. Another thing to consider with people need to feel in control of their surroundings is light. We as humans feel out of control when it's dark. And so, especially for children, buy glow sticks, keep them in your food storage, and when it's dark, you can give a small child a glow stick, and that brings them so much comfort because they're in control. It's not like they are the victims of the darkness. So that's just something to consider. One thing that the fireman said in that Mormon Channel episode was he said, firemen don't run to a situation, they walk. And he went on to explain that if he was to come to a situation where your adrenaline is already pumping, and if he was to come running up to the situation, that only fuels your fire. So something to consider is your mannerisms when you are in a situation. Think about the tone of your voice. Think about how your body language is. People can pick up on that very easily. When we were doing the search for the girl last month, the mother came in. She was out searching with all of our CERT teams, and she came to check out with me, and I could tell that something was wrong. And I didn't know her name. But then when she gave me her badge, and I went to check her out, and I saw her name, and it was because it was very obvious from her body language the stress that she was under. The other thing about walking to a situation instead of running is that it gives you the opportunity to mentally prepare yourself and to assess the situation. If you, in the CERT class, on the last day, you get to participate in a mock situation, and you'll go and you search a room, and one of the things that he does is he will put a poisonous snake in one of the corners. And as the not really. So, and as everyone is searching the room, someone, always without fail, will come across this poisonous snake. And at that point, that person is then dead. So they then have to lay down, and they are considered dead. Where if that person had watched, carefully assessed the situation, they could have avoided their death. So, think about that one. The other quote that I heard from a movie that I totally love is, "Fear is healthy, panic is deadly." And that is so true. Fear is a fantastic thing that we have been given to help us get the adrenaline that we need to perform the task at hand. Panic, however, is when your brain disconnects from your body and you become a loose cannon and you put yourself at risk and those around you at risk. So it's okay to be afraid. It's not okay to panic. The last thing is skills and training. Every time that we have been activated, we send the first message out that we only want CERT people to respond. And we'll get a large response, and then there will always be the people that say, "I want to help, but I'm not CERT trained." And we say, "We're sorry. Today is the day of activation, not the day of training." So, today is your day of training. Take those opportunities to become trained so that you can be useful. Skills to consider learning for an emergency is gardening, food preservation, survival skills, camping, scouting, carpentry, medical, sewing, electrical, plumbing, and psychology.
Would you repeat it one more time?
Totally will, yes. Gardening, food preservation, survival, camping, scouting, carpentry, medical, sewing, electrical, plumbing, and psychology. So those are the skills. Pick one a year. Remember, we're not eating the elephant. Pick one a year and learn something new for that year, and then you will be that much more prepared in the years to come. As far as training go, there are 4 trainings that I highly recommend, and I have done all of them but one, and that's my goal for this year, is to finish that one. So there's the CERT class, Red Cross training. When we have been activated at CERT to go to the evacuation centers, because CERT is different than the Red Cross, even though they both fall under the umbrella of FEMA, CERT has to leave unless they have been Red Cross trained. And I have not been, so this year I'm going to be. So, CERT Red Cross, ham radio, you become a fantastic asset if you have a ham radio license. I do not consider myself in any way a ham radio operator. And when I go to the Harriman meetings, I'm probably the only girl under the age, well, I'm the only girl, but I'm also the only person under the age of 35 or 40. But it's fantastic because they have taught me skills that I would not have learned without them. Ham radios have gone down in cost. You can get a fantastic ham radio now for $100. So it's not near what it was. Mine looks like a little walkie-talkie. I should have brought it. It's like this tall, and about this tall is actually the radio, and the rest of it's the antenna. So look into ham radio. There are 8-year-old boys that get their ham radio license, so anybody can do it. The other one I would recommend is the Incident Command System. That is the structure that the entire government